Your journey as Bongi Collin is big cut out for that. I mean, how many artists do you know that work together with their wives?
It's few.
It's very few because it's not cut out for everyone. We also look at ourselves and think, yo, how did we get here? And you can see it's God's grace. So when you understand that, you will not compete with anyone. You will not compete for space. You will not try to sound like anyone. You will be you. And that's how God wants it.
Mokgaetsi ke a le amogela ko gae ke nna morama Tlaopane ke nna morama Idi ke le ka lwana ko Tau Neo mo Dihapula ke a le amogela mo Gospel Church with Neo. The Bible says two shall become one in the book of Mark 10. So today our guest, it's 2 in 1. You will always see them together wherever they are. They go by the name of BNC, Bongi and Collin. Please welcome to Gospel Chat with Neo.
Oh yeah.
Thank you, Neo. Thank you for having us, Neo.
It's good to have you here. The example, you are two in 1.
2 in 1.
Combination, like we always see you guys together from way back up until today. How has it been like? But then before we can get to that, please greet our viewers go high and all that.
Wow.
Greetings to everyone.
Hi,
viewers at home.
Bongi and Collin.
And the viewers back Gospel Chat.
Yes.
We're so excited. Finally we are here.
Finally. You guys have been married, I don't know for how long and all that.
We're 15 this year.
15
We've known each other for 18 years. Yes.
18. Okay. No, that's good. Is it what we call a godly marriage?
Yeah.
Wow. It's a blessing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
This one, especially for husband and wife, working together, it is a godly one.
But how is it being like in terms of the gigs and all that? We'll talk about the music a little bit later, but then how has been your marriage life up to so far? I know there are challenges.
Yeah.
Well, just like any other relationship, when you have two people walking in the same direction, doing the same thing, there's bound to be, potholes or whatever here and there.
Yeah.
And it's normal because you've got your own mind, I have mine. Even when we're working in the same direction, but, we think differently, which is a blessing in disguise. We shouldn't look at it as something negative because when is the two of us thinking different, we are able to do something proper, go into the same direction. We get, we've got more ammunition than if I'm alone. So we shouldn't look at people in a relationship when they think different or view things different as something bad. It's a good thing, actually. It's a blessing in disguise. So it's been good this far. I must say we're enjoying it. That's why we're still here.
Yeah.
And about the whole marriage, how has it been in terms of when you guys have gigs and all that? Do you maybe sit down and decide for which gig are we taking? We go back as far as Joyous, Benjamin Dube, Prophet KK, and now you're fellowshipping together at Muso.
Yes, that's amazing. It's beautiful. I always say, they always speak about communication when it comes to marriage or relationship. So we always say to each other, for us it's very, very crucial communication because we work together, not only just work together, but we are husband and wife, we are parents. I think the how part as well, the communication, it's very important to check ourselves as well because there's work and then there's home. So what we do, yes, we do communicate and talk about and plan around our lives. For this time we're going to push more work And then we have time where we say, this time we need to focus in building the family, which is with the kids. And one of the things that we intentionally talk about and intentionally plan is that we need time to nurture the marriage, the relationship, the two of us, because we can say, no, we're always together, we work together, we're always at home, but it's easy to drift apart as much as we are always together, but we need to catch up and make sure with the relationship, the two of you outside Bongi and Collin, are you okay?
Yeah. So like, Sis Bongi, if I may ask you, like, you guys have known each other for 18 years. How did it come about, like, with Collin, Akoshele, and all that?
Yo, our story, guys, it's a funny one. I think it goes back to what you say, it's a godly ordained thing.
Yeah.
I think at some point I decided I didn't want to get married to a musician.
Why? If I may ask that
because I think it's because of some of the things that I've observed when I got into the industry. So it was too much, and I got me to get to that decision. But as time goes on, God showed me, we would see, there are those, basaliteng, and besides basaliteng, you say you're running away from. I think for me to really actually listen to him, I think that time there was a project. Collin was with Mighty Gospel Sound. I was working with Pastor Benjamin Dube at that time. And Pastor Benjamin Dube, he was very strict. Like, yes, you're a musician, you're a singer, but at church, your spiritual life, your Christian life, sister, maybe be straight. Don't be all over and whatever. So for us, he was very strict. Even my shows, when God shows, it wasn't that thing or bashimani and whatever. So, and then I observed him as we were working together with them, because Pastor Benjamin Dube was now producing their album as Mighty Gospel Sound. With how he was and carried himself, he stood out for me.
Wow.
His life really spoke for himself before he can even talk to me.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
Did you have it easy with there, Bra Collin? Like, was it a easy pass more like
no, not really.
Just got.
No. I think when I met her, I was at the point, much as I was young, I was like 23. I was at a point where I knew what I wanted. By the way, I grew up from a family where I checked, my parents met when they were 18, 19. And by 2021, they were already, So in the back of my mind, there's always been this thing, I want to get married early. I just wanted this marriage thing to work while I was still younger, because I'm in the back of my mind, what I saw around me was healthy in a way, So unfortunately for me, that time didn't work. But when I met her, I was already matured enough to say, I want this out of life. And it didn't take me long. I was sure, okay, this is the person that I want to be with, for the long haul. Apart from missing her the first time, not knowing she could sing, and I was, caught by that. But later, I was comfortable enough, after having a couple of conversations with her, I was comfortable enough to say, this is the person that I want to be with. And I remember I was excited. I have a funny cousin called Mati. I went, and told him at home, hey, so. The next thing I'm telling my grandmother, before I even talked to my parents, like, hey, May, Auntie May, he Mexican cuisine, yo. She's like this and that. And then my grandmother's old at the time, she was 80 something. And she's like, and then when
Yeah.
But I was sure of what I wanted. Then one thing led to another. I was comfortable enough to be sure, okay, this is the person that I want to be with for the long haul. And I know, God willing, we'll get married. And eventually, one thing led to another. I mean, we met in 2003. Around March, that was the first time I saw her. And then by 2004, I was like, this is it. This is it. I'm sure, And in 2005, even when we did other things, we were already now known, there's two, inseparable. But though we're not yet married, but we found ourselves in projects where when they call her, they also call me. When they call me, they also call her. Then 2005, we were like, now, I remember I didn't go this thing of, the Western guys where they say kneel on one, what, and take out the ring or the student thing. Look, I don't despise those, and I don't have a problem with them. And they work for other people. But for me, I was like, this is a more a matter of a heart posture. I'm sure with this person, I'm just going to say straight, hey, can you please talk to your parents? Let them know this is it. Can we come? Okay, serious. Yeah, tell them. This is what we want to come, and I was sure about it. Long story short, 2006, then we got married 10th of December. Long story short, we are now chasing 15
years. Yeah. It's a milestone.
And it's a huge one.
Your musical journey, you mentioned like you always finding each other in projects.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Joyous.
Okay, 2001.
Yeah. How was the experience there? But before Joyous, I think you did quite though.
Yes. So, in 1993, while I was still like in
93, that time I was 1 year old.
Now giving things away. Okay, but anyway, it's a beautiful history. Look, I'm not one of those that when they were 4, they were already playing the piano and no. My dad played good music from when I was young. Actually, my dad was a musician, but that's a story for another day. He was a musician. I found out late and all that, but I understood why I had a musical, bone or genes and whatnot. So he used to play great music, like good music, stuff and different things. But you see, when you play something to a child over and over again, that impacts something in them. And when I was 13, I remember when I was in primary school at the time, grade 7, back then standard 5. Yeah, so I was in standard 5, and there was a singing competition. There were also visitors that came to Scala, and there was another Collin. The other Collin really saw. The other Collin was doing hip hop, so though he had a stuttering problem, but he was more fluent in hip hop. I was the singer, so we had a tag team, and we sang at the school. Though it came out as a joke, but it didn't see this something that was gonna grow. And then when I got into high school, started being exposed to a couple of things. Kwaito then was big. Then we formed a group, Bongi Collin and other guys. At first, I was a rapper / singer, And then eventually when we had this group, I had a role in the group. The group was 5 guys. There were 2, one who was good in hip hop, one who was good in rapping Kwaito, And then 3 of us were a bit of vocalists, but I was the stronger guy in terms of the vocals. So we recorded, it was a group called 4 Gents in high school. And already in high school, we had an album. But, God had other plans. But it was a journey that started when, after Bongi Collin getting into high school, then we imitated Boys II Men. And one thing led to another. Then we ended up feeling, no, we imitating Boys II Men. Why don't we have a real group? Then we had a group. From that, then they had recording Yakwaito. But that album was a good album. Though it was talking, teenagers, what we sing about and all that. But when I got born again, that just flipped. And it was not like that the music was wrong, but it didn't feel right. Not that the music was wrong, it was good music. But it just didn't feel right anymore. I guess when you get born again and allow Christ to grow in you, he starts mapping out, what is already destined for you. And God started, putting things together. By the time I got to Joyous Celebration, I was already, in the industry. We opened up for big acts. Moretele Park was our playing ground and all that. So State Theatre was our playing ground. Back then, Thursdays, there used to be days where there's performances called State Theatre. Back then in the 90s, and it was formal. No one in Gamlara, us black people singing and all that. And it was a great journey. But when Christ started taking over and changing the lanes and all that, it just put me in a much better place, which also aligned now with the calling. You are not just born again, but I have something greater for you. And that started that journey. When I got to Joyous Celebration, certain things started making sense. I was not yet exposed that much to gospel music. Because I had just been born again, 2 years earlier. And
Did you go for auditions?
yes. Actually, I met someone at the Woolworths. Balefe Zaga for saying this. So in Tramshed in Pretoria, there's a Woolworths.
Yeah.
No, not Tramshed, in St. Mark's. So I'm standing in line and comes this tall guy. I remember he had woody dreadlocks. And he's like, I saw you singing at some church. Yada. I'm going to try and put you up for Joyous Celebration. I was clueless. What is Joyous Celebration? It's like, no, there's a gospel group, this and that and that and that. Look, I'll take out transport, blah, blah, blah. You go to Civic Theatre in Joburg. You go there, just give them your best. I bet you're going to make it through. And I thought, okay, I don't know this thing, but let me go. Try. That was in 2000, yes. And I had just enrolled in a music school. So I'm thinking, okay, now go push music. And then I find this guy. Then we go to the auditions. At the auditions, it was on a Thursday. They're like, no, come back tomorrow. I go back on Friday. They're like, by that afternoon, you have made it. So I have to decide. Joyous Celebration was Gala. You know, I'm like, no, I'm taking the low-hanging fruit. I'll go for Joyous. And that's how I made it to Joyous Celebration. But out of 760 people, I was part of the 7 people that made it. At the same time with KK and Avis. Don't remember the other guys, but yeah.
No,
it was worth it, man.
That was a big thing.
Right.
Sis Bongi, it's recently that I found out that you were doing in Temnandi.
Oh, okay.
Is it in
Intando.
Intando.
Yeah, not in Temnandi.
Fine.
That was in 2000 as well.
Yeah,
No,
2000.
like you guys have been in the industry and all that. Your brand, it's so huge. And how is it when it comes to your album, your music, beside what you have done with others as BVs? Have you seen growth in your brand? I know you guys have been in the UK, you performed that side.
Yeah, I would say we've seen a huge growth in what now we did and step aside and do as Bongi and Collin. I mean, looking at the producers that we worked with, looking at the awards that we've received through our work. I mean, talking about our first album, Magatunyiswe.
Yeah.
The first album which won us a Sama.
The summer.
So
First time.
To me was saying, Guti, we have grown, and South Africa recognizes our work.
Sure.
You know, as artists, individual in our own right. So, yeah, for me, I'd say I'd seen the great work, and for us getting to travel, getting to our music being recognized also in the US. I mean, for me, it was like, wow, Lord, this is good. Yeah.
Earlier on, you mentioned before you could decide to, you said you did not want to get married to a musician because of what you see behind the scenes.
Right.
What is it that you can advise to young people who wants to be musicians? Because a lot of things are happening behind the scenes.
Right.
A lot of things are happening when you have the mic and the stage there. And it's not easy to get there. It's not easy to break.
Yeah.
And you have kept on your word, and now you are married 15 years, and you guys have still been together throughout everything that you see that we don't know about.
Right. Man, I think I would like to say, when you are in there, remember in the first place who has called you, the bigger picture, what God has called you, what God said about your life, because it's easy when you're now exposed to everything. It looks good, everything is out there, everything is available. Just throw yourself in. It's easy to sway you, and you were there and you were not there. It's forgotten about you, no matter how great you are, because it's easy, those things, to get you off track. If I put it that way, it's easy to get you off track. Because I remember at some point we had to, we traveled to what's this, Zimbabwe.
In Zimbabwe.
Yeah, we were doing a gig for the embassy. The embassy of South Africa. I was with some artists, and there everything was there. Everything was available. Everyone was like, people went for it. But at that time, no one was there watching Horgirang and whatever. But I remembered who called me, why am I here? Why am I here? And to understand that not everything that is here is for me. It might look good, but then you must check ukuthi a lot of people who've taken that route, where do they end? Baphelela kuphi. So it's important to be sober at all times. Be sober. Wazi ukuthi ubani. Why are you here? Why are you here?
Well, it's very sad, but it's the truth that is out there. We know how the music industry is. There's glitz, there's glam.
Yeah.
But behind those glitz and glams, there's also if I were to call it sacrifices that we make on ourselves. Like, for instance, if I get to a place where there's an abundance, and I'll be straight off, maybe drugs, alcohol, this and that, women and all that. If you sacrifice yourself and say, okay, you know what, I'm going to enjoy this, then you're killing your gift. You're killing why you're here. You're killing, because we know a lot of maybe ladies that, kind of dropped the ball and allowed the industry to take them over because they want to have that deal. You go and take a shortcut, you sleep around because you want this or that and that. Eventually, your gift is overlooked because you are known for other things. But when you stand your ground and say, I'm not going to sell myself cheap, I know I have a gift that I've been given by God. I'll stick to my guns. I will do my work. I'll perfect the craft that I've been given. It doesn't matter how long
It takes.
and it doesn't matter even the closed doors, you will get there. I mean, we've been fighting battles for years, but we got to a stage where we understood, who are we fighting? And we're fighting spirits that don't want to see this thing work. So do we allow them to overshadow us? No. Let's continue to do that which we're good at. And God, who is the one that will, do his thing, he'll put us in places. You mentioned that we've performed in the UK, in the US, in the Caribbean. Kai, it's God who did that. It's God who opens those doors. So my advice would be, it doesn't matter how glossy it looks. If there's no honor, integrity in it, don't do it. Because once you do that, you've already paved your way. It's like you're paying yourself before you get your actual payment. So you don't do that. Stick to your guns. Do things by the book. I tell you, it pays off to wait and do things with integrity and honor.
Do you guys think of like the recording companies or deals? Do they rob artists or artists don't just read their contracts?
No. Look, the industry has been designed in a way that it always favors the company more than the artist.
Right.
That's how it has been tailored. And this is a global thing. It's not just a South African thing. Though there's regions where they do contracts in a certain way, where they will give you an advance of 5 million, making an example, $5 million US. That looks good. It can buy me a house. It can buy me this and that. But what is in the detail? How are you going to pay back that 5 million? I can't come and give you 5 bar and say to you, I'm going to record you this and that and then, but I don't get anything. So usually the major labels, they have a way that they recoup their monies, but the price is more heavier to pay when you realize that the things that are in the detail. There are clauses that are in contracts that can lock you up for 10 years. You're not allowed to speak or perform and say if you decide to walk from the deal. So these things have been made in a way that they actually cover more for the company than the actual artist. So we need to be mindful of things that are in contracts. Don't rush into things. No. That's nothing like that.
Because the problem with us is that, remember, like the mistakes that a lot of us
and we made mistakes
made it
too.
Which we want to highlight to the upcoming artists is that when I want to see yourself on stage, we already there. I see myself singing, my album being out. What I'm there, then I miss
the details that are in contract.
Then I miss the details because we like it or not, whether you're singing gospel, at the end of the day, you are a business.
You're a business, yes.
Because for you to sustain yourself as that gospel artist, to now do those shows, be out there, at the end of the day, you need to live. You need to eat. You need a place to stay.
Yes.
Your music being out there, someone is buying, there's money that's coming. Where is it going? If you get 3%, 3% of what?
Of what? And
Where is
after
the rest
after how
going?
long do you get that 3%?
After how long?
If they claim, or Brenda
Those
Fassie's
advance.
tour was the biggest, the percentage that she got was
Right.
the biggest of an artist, which apparently they spoke about, I think about 16 or 18. If you claim Brenda Fassie was the biggest artist to get a certain percentage, where does the rest of the stuff go? And after how long do I get my 18? So you need to, don't just rush to sign and see someone driving, a C63 and they're saying no, they want to sign you, and you see how they dress up, and then they buy you the expensive lunch, what teas and whatnot, depending on how your palate is, they entice you according to that. Sister Rebecca Malope once said she got to a stage where she got tired of being invited to meetings and they take out teas and biscuits because that's what they use as bait.
To keep you.
So depending on what your palate likes, they will take you to places and all that. But read your contract and don't be pressured. This is the mistake that actually most of the artists do. Because you see yourself having been sold this dream and you see yourself on stage already, driving that Mac, having that house. Yes. You don't go through your contract. Look, no one must ever be rushed. The law actually allows you to take it to third parties, biochecker, and then they advise you duly. You come back and sit down with your people, renegotiate. But then most of the artists find themselves in a place where they just sign for things that they didn't even go through. And you don't realize this clause. There's something called the sunset clause. Go and read about it. Go and research about it.
Sure.
After researching about the sunset clause, you realize how cruel things can be.
Right.
You can be locked in a contract
Right.
for 10 years and you don't know it. And there's nothing you can do about it, because on the day when you were excited, you signed your birthright, or you signed your gift
You
away.
know how much you charge on a live performance.
Yeah.
Because
What
I
happens to your performance fees?
Yes.
There's a lot of differences when it comes to the contract. Like Konalia, the lyrics, master.
No, those are other
No.
things. Of
Yeah.
course, let's on.
Intellectual property.
Yesterday, I read something very interesting. Eugene Mteto says, when something in the lines of, we need to be in a place where the master does not make money for the slave masters, but it must make money for the person that owns the master, which is you. You are the talent, which means it's your master. But if you don't read up, your master ends up being owned by. We made our own fair share of mistakes. We don't own two masters. And we had to decide, do we fight or do we let them go? If you fight, there's legal stuff involved. There's monies involved. You have to open up a case. Maybe you need about 200K just to get a fair fight, someone that will go a bit over. How long is it going to take? If you get someone that's got money, they will stretch it and all that. And labels have got money. You don't have. If you're fighting with a record label, they're sitting on probably about 200 million. You want to fight with a Goliath and all that. Some of the things we said, you know what? They're not worth it. Let's let go. It's painful. Let's let go. But going forward, what do we do to get the process right? So we had to say, from now on, we're not signing to any label. We are a label. And that has paid off 5 years later. We are a business. You understand? Yes, we are a brand. We are a business. And you don't rush. It doesn't matter if they put 5 million on the table. We don't want it. We are a business. We grow to that 5 million. It's good to chow your 5 million than chow somebody's 5 and you pay it later.
As a brand, you guys have you ever thought about maybe doing a separate project?
Yes.
Yes. Because I mean, like, you're always together.
No, they're coming. They're coming.
We're coming. We did speak about it. Actually, in the beginning when we started.
When we met, we were already in the industry individually. So we're working together. So we I'd like to, I think by this time I want to record an album. Collin had the same dream. And we maybe 5 years down the line or 10 years, we can do a collaboration. Yes.
God had a different plan.
Yeah.
So wherever we go, the deal was the two of you.
Where's your
everywhere, the two of you.
Where's your wife?
So we're that thing we want to finish with, God wants to start with.
He wants to start with it, And that song that Gege did on Testimony, fast forwarded things. That song was not rehearsed. That song, no, it was not. We were not supposed to sing.
And
so
he gives me a mic.
He just pulled Bongi on stage.
And I'm I'm supposed to sing.
You nailed that song.
We always say, be prepared. You got 5 minutes to be prepared.
So, as a brand, as an artist, I mean, in my little experience and knowledge, I've seen it's rare to see artists having a local church What is what?
Yeah.
I'm being honest
Okay.
here.
Yeah,
I
no.
mean, you guys are gigging, doing all those things. On Sundays, you are tired and all that. And I just need to understand how, like, the importance of saving in
Right.
a church, not
Right.
gigging.
Yeah.
Serving, yes.
Serving.
There's
After church, and then you
Yeah.
you expect a brown envelope from the pastor.
Yeah.
No, not that one. Being
Yeah.
at the church and serving under the leadership, I just need the importance of that from
Right.
both of you.
Right. I think this is one of the things that we spoke about, I think the year before we got married, that looking at how the industry is and how people end up. So we decided and we made it, we are going to have, as we have, wherever I come from, Colin, wherever he is, so obvious I was going to join him. Let's continue to stay now. It's important to have a spiritual home.
spiritual home, yeah.
Which we spoke about it, to have a spiritual, not be just artists nje, ngati we're running around like
Celebrities
headless
and all that,
chicken.
yeah.
Ne, we are not celebrities. It's important for us to stay grounded. We spoke that it's important to have a spiritual home, have our leaders. Abatimabas Kuza, we listen. Because sometimes you get to be a celebrity that you don't listen to anyone. You make mistake, you're getting out of hand. So, and it doesn't end there, just a spiritual home and a leader, but serve. Because outside Bongi and Collin, we understand that we have this calling. We have to honor the calling that God has placed upon our lives to serve in the kingdom. You know, being an artist, yes, is reaching masses out there through our music and whatever. But at the end of the day, we are ministers. We are ministers. So it's important to honor that. It's very important for us. For us to be all right, ngapha, this has to be right.
That is to play.
This
yeah.
is very important
That's
to
the
us.
foundation
That's the
of
foundation.
everything.
That's what holds us together as Bongi and Collin. We get fed easily. We get to serve. Sibe abantwana ekhaya. Yeah, I have to put it that way.
Bongi is originally from the evangelical church, but when she came to Joburg to study around 2000, then she submitted under Bishop Benjamin Dube for years until we got married. And then she came to a church which, by the time she came, I've been in the same church where I got born again. I got born again in 97, and I served in the same church until we left the church in 2020. So we've been there for long, but here's the whole thing. Not because maybe, you just a person at church. No. God has given us a gift, and as believers, that gift has to be nurtured. But it's not only just your gift, it's also about, nurturing other people. So we've been in a place where we've been serving and allowing God to use us to touch other people's lives, serving in the church. So even where we are now, our home now at Muso, we're still submitting and we are serving. Very important for you to have, as a believer, especially a gospel singer. Gospel singers have a church and have a pastor that you submit to, who when you speak, you will listen as your father. And it's very important to understand this. It's not an issue of age. It's an issue of protocol and authority that God has bestowed. So once you understand, once you understand those things, it's very important to understand God, how he works. When the children of Israel were going from one point to another, God had one leader that they submitted under, who God communicated with him, whether through the prophets or whoever. But God spoke to a leader, and then the leader came and delivered the message to the rest of the guys. The other priests and so forth, they were under that leader. So it's very important for us to understand that that's still operational. That's how God works. God had placed certain people in your life for a reason. And you need a spiritual leader that will be a voice in your life that will speak to you. That when you mess up, you'll be spoken to, and you listen and you get, healing or redemption or whatever you want to call it. And speak life into your life. We need that. If you miss that protocol, then we're just setting up ourselves up for failure. A lot of musos why people leave church and jump ship and all that, it's because we struggle with submission, and that's a dangerous thing to do. If you fail to submit to a man that God has placed in your life, you fail to submit to your own parents, then it's a recipe for disaster. You won't see the results now. They'll catch up with you in the future. Yeah.
I want to ask you guys, from your experience and from everything that you've been through, have you ever been tested to a point where you ask yourself, or like, in this situation,
yeah, and
we were talking about it last
yes, and if you have never been tested to that level, you must ask questions. Look, go and check heroes of faith in the Bible. They went through stuff. Let's start with Tamar and Abraham. The guy gets told, dude, leave your family, leave everything, go now. It takes faith to do that, but it comes with pain. I'm leaving these people that I've known for years. I'm leaving my mom, my dad, and all that. And there's this God that out of the blue came and promises me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That comes with pain. Moses having to, at some stage, be a fugitive and all that. And God says, go get my people. You are reasoning against your reality because, you're thinking, maybe 20 years ago. I have to go back there and convince this guy that I've killed one of his people that my God who is in heaven says 1, 2, 3. Even today, it's just that the dynamics have changed because back then they were wearing sandals, today they're wearing sneakers. But God still works even today. And it's painful when God says to you 10 left. And your reasoning and everything says, if I turn right, I'm getting 1, 2, 3. And God says, no, 10 left. You get tested to an extent, or you sometimes, yes, do ask, where is God?
Yeah.
And it's normal. We should shy away from that. How many prophets do you know in the Bible who at some stage, I mean, Mfana Jonah, you're sending me to these people who are so ruthless, who are going to peel off my skin and kill me and do this. And God says, I'm sending you there. Out here at short left, God brought them back through, the whole story and all that. Even today, those things do apply. It's just that the dynamics are might be slightly different. Where God says, Collin, Bongi, stay. And you're like, but God, here is a sweeter deal. And we've made mistakes, like I said. One of the things that I remember is, at some stage, something lucrative gets placed before us, and we're like, Lord, this thing looks good and all that. And we pray. And I'm saying to Bongi all the time, I remember that day so vividly that when a certain call was made, there is an antenna that is within all of us that tells you no. And if you overlook that, the price to pay later is very heavy. So, because the thing looked good and the language that was spoken was Christianese and Bible, you're thinking, we're on the same page. My man, depend on the Holy Spirit. The man, that thing that says, the small voice that says, don't do it. Yeah. And we made a mistake and went with the wrong thing. But fortunately, the grace of God, even when you have put yourself in a situation, He will pull you out.
Yeah.
But the price is heavy to pay because it means you'll go back to square one.
Right.
But if you listen to God when He says, don't move, He's already put you on level 10. Where now, Paiza, you're taking yourself back. Let me simplify it. We took a decision, even when maybe God had said, don't do it. We went with it, looked good. But then we started seeing things that we're not supposed to see, and eventually, and. At the time we prayed and said, God, it doesn't matter what. Whichever way you take us out of this situation, never again.
Not going back there.
Yeah, and our prayers were so hard. I mean, look, we are the ones that put ourselves in that situation.
Yes.
Then things fell flat. And we inquired to, we asked God like David did when he encouraged himself, go into his corner and cry and say, okay, here are my people, they want to kill me. We went to God and asked hard questions. But one of the hardest questions, remember, was, where do we mess up?
Yeah.
And God showed us, you mess up by trusting people easy. Who says when someone comes and speaks Christianese and they have 5 million on the table, that means they are from me? And God says, when you pray, I will let you know if this is it and this is not it.
Yeah.
But depend on me, not on what you see. And He showed us. Then He took us back to, there's a book, the stuff that we wrote 2 years before we got into this mess. God takes us back to that thing. And He says all the time, remember, if Neo comes and says, I have $1 million and I want to sponsor your project. If Neo says, change this or that in your ministry, then it's no longer me in control, God. It's Neo. So it won't work. it will fail. Even when Neo helps me, later on it fails. Then I go back to square one because God's mandate still has to be achieved. But it means now I've taken myself back. So we had to learn to say no to good things. Even now we're like, no.
Yeah.
And you're thinking we're crazy. No.
Can you call it it goes back to what you asked Neo. When the record companies now bring the contract, and then but how does it mess up the artist there? Because at the end of the day, most of the artists have problem. So now the thing is, the record label comes and then there's a plan of God.
Yes. Yeah. Those are two different things.
The frustration gets to when now...
Which one is this one?
The record label says, you come when you know you have your vision and the plan of God. The record label says, no, we change here. Right there, that's where the frustration
That's where
comes
things get messed up. When you get born, God gives you something. When you get born again, that thing has to be activated so that it starts working in your life, so that it benefits you and the people around you and the global, world and all that and all that. When somebody else comes and say, alter what God has given you, then God takes the backseat. He will not force himself and exert himself on you.
Right.
God takes the backseat and says, okay, let it be. And what we do is we most of the time follow what we sing, the new trends and all that. But trends. We go as per what is sweet now, what sounds good now, da 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 da. And when you do that, if it's not God's plan for your life, you're going to go back to square one. That thing won't work. And God will say, okay, now that you're done with this thing, come back here. This is what I had given you to go and do. This one, I say how. And then it means you have wasted maybe a good 2-3 years. And then you have to start again. When God showed us what we had missed with, things that we had written down and all that, God had already given us a company name, all this. We wrote those things down. Now we wasted 2 years because we believed in something that was not from God. And God says, yes. And God says, go back to this one. And when we got back to that one, I remember 2014, 2015, things started, building up here and there, and God starts showing us that, okay, look, I'm with you, I got your back. It might look like small steps. For instance, when you started, you said, we've got a big brand, this and that. I'm still led to see what that is, because where we are, it's nothing yet compared to what God has showed us. So we still feel we have a lot of work.
Right.
And not just work from Zanzifela, but globally, so, because that's how God had showed us what he wants to do through us. And don't be fooled by what you see on the sidelines. There's people, your peers, your friends, that they're getting this and that quicker, they're driving this or that, they're living in this Porsche houses. You don't know their journey. Your journey as Bongi Collin is big cut out for that. I mean, how many artists do you know that work together with their wives?
It's few.
It's very few, because it's not cut out for everyone. We also look at ourselves and think, yo, how did we get here? And you can see it's God's grace. So when you understand that, you will not compete with anyone. You will not compete for space. You will not try to sound like anyone. You will be you. And that's how God wants it.
You just mentioned the sound. How do you guys define your sound? I mean, like, if I can listen to you individually, it's totally different sound.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Colin wa utlwana li fela mo gene. Ke motho ke mozela no la li fela. No se mpito ena ya ratega.
No.
How do you guys define your sound?
I don't think we have a specific...
Is it traditional?
No.
Is it contemporary?
We don't know. When we won the first award, which was a summer, the biggest in the country.
It was
contemporary urban, and we couldn't understand. Okay, contemporary urban. We just write from the heart. We knew we had a certain sound that we loved, which unfortunately sometimes they put it in brackets and say, you guys are doing R&B and all that. This is not necessarily R&B. There are elements of.
Yeah.
But when we write, we're not saying, okay, now we're writing because we want to fit in the R&B box.
Yeah.
When we write, we just write music.
Yeah, I think it's what comes at that time.
At that moment, at that season.
Yeah, because if you've noticed, we don't release album every year or every 2 years. We believe there's a certain time when it feels right. Ugutu has released, because songs start coming.
Yes.
Songs come, and then and this is the season for us to do something and release something. Because I have done songs in Zulu. Zulu. I love a lot of Zulu. In Zulu, Yes, a little bit of Sotho. Colin always does that. And in English, that's why I'm saying it's a bit difficult. We don't have a specific description ungati
Yeah.
we fall under here, but I think it's what comes at that time.
Yeah.
We are in the COVID times, and before I could ask, are you guys going to get vaccinated, or are you still planning?
Jesus.
Go first. It's an individual one. Not really, man.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Look,
Okay.
I'm not yet vaccinated, but I'm not controlled by what I hear or see.
Oh yeah.
I'm not controlled by that.
Yeah.
The God that we serve is bigger than vaccine, bigger
Right.
than fear, bigger than this
Corona.
and that. And bigger than Corona, and bigger than, if there are any, bigger than whoever that's planning whatever to do with the world. This is not your business. This is God's business. These are God's people. If you're planning to alter things and what, because maybe you want to kill people or you want to make business, you have a God to deal with. And we've seen it over and over again. Go read your Bible. Tell me of what God did to those that tried to mess up with his people.
Sure.
So I'm gonna get vaccinated so that we can be safe and we can be able to continue with the work of God. But these things are not bigger than there's no. If I were to go DNA altering and all this and that can mess up with the business of God.
Yeah,
God will deal with them. And we've seen it before. Yeah.
Are you guys taken seriously in South Africa as creatives?
I don't want to go there. You tell us. No, look, I think
from your point of view,
Not
Njeli,
really.
Oh Lord.
There is a little bit
did?
fraction. Yeah, I did. I think it's about time.
Okay, cool. No, be you. I mean, speak your truth.
Yeah, not really. I don't think some mostly really get it or get us. Yeah, I think not really. Not really. It's only a fraction.
And I'd say it's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
When you speak your truth.
We understand
Yeah.
why.
Yeah.
When you speak your truth, it won't appeal to everybody. And don't try to be appealing to everybody. There's a meme that we like seeing around. Uthi awusi imali, you won't be liked by everybody. And unless we understand that, but also in terms of preaching the gospel the way we're doing, you will not appeal to everybody because there's people that prefer traditional music. South Africa is rich in a lot of things. There's people that are like traditional. There's people that like hymns. There's people that like this and that. And then there's choral music.
Yeah.
You will not appeal to everybody, and don't try to do that. Previously, there used to be, when you have a 12-track album, but no, we need one for at least traditional. We need this for maybe KZ. And why are we trying to do that? Be you. Do you.
Do you.
Yeah.
God has
Your
a
own
crowd
lane,
for
your
a
own
certain...
place.
Yes.
Yeah, because for me, at the end of the day, if you're gonna come and tell me what I'm doing, no, it's not gonna bring money. It's not gonna do. Try and do this. Yo, you've messed me up already.
But you see, that's where we...
You've messed me up already
Yes.
because I'm losing me. I'm losing this which I'm hearing, which God is giving
Exactly.
me.
The plan of God must
When I
prevail.
sing, because this thing, I always say, Tina Bakula, for us, it's like, oh, for lack of a better way, ngathi siyizangoma. When I'm anyway, the unobis or whatever, those things, this thing haunts you.
If you don't do it
In
right
your
and all
sleep,
that.
I hear songs and sound in my sleep. I wake up when I'm happy, when I'm sad, when I'm going through whatever. What keeps me sane? It's music. Music, I find myself singing. I found myself singing Tengazazi. Give me any good music. Give me the best of Mambusi Mhlongo. I enjoy it. Give me the best of Michael Jackson. I enjoy it. Any good music for me. It's like ngathi ngiyahlanya with music. I try to quit. It's not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen.
I try, but it haunts me. So singenwe. So that's why I'm saying I hear it. I hear the sound. So if you're gonna tell me and say, do this, oh, you've messed me up.
Yeah.
But that's where
It's not money, we need money, but
the
it's not about that
sensitivity
money.
of being you. Eba wena.
Right.
Let's learn from, maybe if we're to put it, things that are out there. There's artists that don't appeal to everybody, and not that those artists are wrong or they sound wrong. It's just that when they're not your forte,
Right.
you don't
It's
like
not
their
you.
sound. You like my piano. I'm not. I'm a piano person. Not that it's wrong. For them, it's, hey, by Chayvele, they love it, they feel it. I'm not. I'm the chilled guy. Like, now, I want the crowd that will come and sit and listen. And then they get out of that, they're like, yeah, I want that, an intimate crowd, not even, filling up a dome or stadium and whatever. It's good for other people. I want an intimate crowd. I wanna sing with you and feel that you guys are being connected, and you feel like, wow, this is touching my heart. I want that. I want that in the room. But we must must stop trying to be everything to everyone. We get lost. We lose our DNA. We lose ourselves because we're trying to please everybody. Hey, Mutu, everybody. So it's very important to remain you. And I pray that most of the upcoming artists don't emulate other people, but find their voice. Collin can sound like Wane Morris of Boys to Men, but there's only one Wane Morris. So I need to find Collin's voice. And how do I do that? If I listen to God, He will tell me, He will direct me, He will prune me, He will push me to be Collin, not Wane Morris.
Yes, sir.
But if there's 5 Wane Morrises, there's only one. When he gets in the room, people know this is the original. What happens to the counterfeit? Yeah, exactly.
I want you guys to flex now. What has been your biggest achievement so far?
Flex. Being on certain stages with certain people and you're like, Lord, because God has spoken. Look, we've always had this from day one that we are international. We appeal to an international market and we're international people. And when I used to stand in front of the mirror before I met Bongi, I would see myself as this guy singing with your Luther Van Rosses and the likes and the likes and the likes. And I would close my eyes and see, me overseas and all that before I even got a passport. And to see those dreams come into fruition, it blows my mind. We've been on the same stage with your BB Winans, Chaka Khan, your Manhattans, been in the same stage with, actually we even blew Kirk's mind at some stage, Kirk Franklin.
In Texas.
In Texas, yes. And being in certain places, like the founder of Mississippi Mass Choir coming, Jerry Maneray, who is also, the founder of McDonald's Inspirational in the US. If you know how big the thing is, he's also came and prayed for our album, being produced by Stan Jones in Jackson, Mississippi, who today produces your Kirks, Dorinda Clark, and the likes and the likes and the likes. You pause a bit and say, God, I had a dream about this thing, and this thing today, it's happening. And you appreciate what you see God doing. So but we're going there. I mean, God is just doing amazing.
I think for me, would be like Collin said, okay, let me start here. We worked with different artists, but now having to travel internationally as in Bongi and Collin, not as in an umbrella of our own. For me, it was like, wow. And the recent one.
Which one? The coming or
the 5-2? This will be them. So
so you can you can say it's
so for me it was recently was our song Being So Good.
Yes.
Receiving an email from a big record label in the US. In Nashville, requesting for us to bring a song that they will
can
release.
Put on a compilation.
Todd Dulane,
McReynolds, Mali Music.
So the poster is there, and there's like Bongi and Collin.
We are there not just the name. I was worried about the name, but they put the faces there. So there's a face.
There's not many more.
There's and you like this compilation, but this is the beginning.
Mercy from Nigeria. Nigerian. There's few from Nigerian. So like looking at that post and everyone asked our song Been So Good. The email came back, they excited, they love the song. So it's being released now internationally from
a
from
big
them, a big
label in the
label.
US. I mean, this is a big one for us because this is
Yeah.
what we've been working on for the past. People don't know that since 2015, we've been going to and fro in the US because we've been tilting the ground. We knew that we're international, ballers, people. So I don't want to lie to you. That's why even the issue of the sound and all that, we've always said we appeal to an international market, and this is where we're going. I mean, bumping into all these big names and you realize the dream is just here. God, we've been working for years and you're about to deliver. This compilation is just the beginning of bigger things. I mean, recording in the studio, Williams Brothers, who did I'm Just a Nobody. And then Doug Williams praying as well for the album. I mean, for us, that was just something else. And while we're recording, a Kirk calls this guy, speaks to this guy's like, oh, I have this couple from South Africa. Look here, this Bongi and Collin.
Yeah.
So God is just amazing, man. And we just that. It's amazing what God does when you trust Him. And He needs you to trust Him fully. You must know God wants what's best for you.
And Paul says, for I reckon the suffering of the present time.
Yes.
It's nothing compared to
the glory.
The latter.
Hey,
I tell you,
Sure.
God has been good, and He's just showing Himself.
What's next for you? You just mentioned a little bit. I know that you have a project that's available on digital.
Yeah.
And then what's next for you in these COVID times? Any plan, any music coming out?
Yeah.
You asked a very important question earlier on of us doing separate
projects.
Yeah. We're going to be recording something nice. It's going to be beautiful. It will be where Bongi flexes on her own, where I flex on my own. And then we also still maintain the PNC element. And this is just, show that God is still God. We've got a beautiful song called He Is Still God, which was written by a friend, Untlanta Silaule. And it's a song that spoke about a transition that we're going through. We had just went through some, heartbreaking things in years. And He Is Still God came and assured us that God is still God. It doesn't matter where you are now and how you're feeling and all that. That does not change God. God is still God. Yeah.
No, man. Before I let you go, can you guys just do a random song together?
Random song.
Yeah. That's the name
You
of the
sounding like
title.
you're saying one random song, one song.
The title of the song is Random
Yeah.
Song.
Random song, random song,
What is a
random song. Wow.
Unplugged sessions.
Unplugged session. Which you wanna go with? You don't
I mean, you guys don't sing in the kitchen while she's
No.
going up
Not at all.
and then she hits a higher note.
Higher note. Yeah.
Okay, go. I'll follow you. Whatever you choose, I'll follow you.
Sangena la.
Yeah.
I gave you some.
Wow. What is that? Hold me close and let your love surround me.
Yo.
And bring me near, draw me to your side. And as I wake, I'll rise up like an eagle, and I will soar with you. Your spirit lets me on by the power of your love. This is the song that we did. Kirk
When
Franklin
Kirk gave us a mic.
Gave us a mic and took a chance. I'm like, you don't know what's coming to you, bro. Just kidding.
That was so beautiful. Eh?
No, thank you. Much appreciated.
Thank you for coming through. Thank you for honoring the invite.
Thank you for
It's been
having
calming
us.
actually.
I know,
Yes,
right?
you know what?
It's been calming.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that we managed to do it
Yes.
in this cold weather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe we'll see you
do it.
again.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get to know more about you,
Yeah,
about your
Yes.
music and what to expect.
Right.
This is Gospel Chats with Neo. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and comment there and like BNC. They have one account they share. It's 2 in 1.
Yeah.
So follow them on social media. It's Bongi Collin.
Yeah.
Facebook, Instagram,
All platforms. So
Yeah.
please do that. Until we meet again on the other episode. I'm out of here.
Hello everybody, my name is Musima Praise and we are still hanging out with Bongi and Collin right here on Gospel Chats with Noah. How you guys doing?
Hi.
We good, and you?
I'm very well, thank you. So I just have some trivia questions from your supporters and nothing hectic, don't worry. Nothing hectic at all. So I'll ask you a question and then you both answer about each other. Right. So what is your partner's favorite show?
Sure.
Oh, jeez.
Well, we watch no shows. Let me see. Let me go to archives. Look, I know she loves her gospel stuff, so I'm not sure. Like, there's many. I can't put one. You can't really put one on.
So gospel shows.
Yeah, gospel shows. Yes.
And what is
Colin likes to watch a lot of documentary.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
yes.
documentary.
Be informed.
Research. He's a researcher. Yeah. And then once in a while he'll sit and watch those music productions. Yeah.
Oh, lovely. And what is your fondest memory of your partner?
Oh, my partner.
Yes.
Yo. The thing is with us, there's many, man. So you can't put one in a
At the top of your
box.
mind, any.
At the top of my mind. Yo. Okay, this one's gonna. When a woman gives birth, there's something that happens to them, and I think this was the second birth of the birth of our second son. There was a bit complications, and with black people don't do this. Going in to check, they tell you come, my brother. They did that, and that day I realized I thought I knew what strength is until I saw her in that position, and I realized we men now we take things for granted. We don't know what strength is. That day I saw a woman of strength, and after the boy was born, looking at how worn out and tired she was, I realized you need to appreciate more.
Absolutely.
That's my
Yeah.
Bongi?
And then my memory fondest. There's a picture. I think it was for the first time we traveled together in a plane. Going overseas, and we took pictures, selfies, and there's another one that he took of me sleeping. So for me, those ones,
Lovely. And our last question: if your partner could relocate to any other country, where would he or she go?
L'émotion de Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay, you can go ahead.
No, you start.
The US.
The US. Ah, lovely.
No, look, there's something that happened to us,
To us, we
and
connected.
it's not even necessarily about what you've been sold, but it's more
The
about
American dream.
something. The people that touched us when we were there, and somehow we sort of felt home.
Yeah.
Yes, I do a couple of other countries, but the US comes top.
Yeah.
And a specific city to be precise. Let me not say it.
Because I know what's on TV is like, everyone's like, America, this, we get tired of it.
Yeah.
So for us, I think it's coming from, like Colin is saying, honestly, that we've been to many places on the ground, we've met, interacted with people, we stayed with them, and we know how
How
we
we got
felt.
embraced and all that.
Yeah, so for us it's based basically on that, not the glitz and glamour and everything.
No.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you so much for joining us. We truly
Thank you.
appreciate it. And you can connect with us on Facebook. It is Gospel Chats with Now. On Twitter, it's Gospel Chats with Now. And on Instagram, it's Gospel Chats with Now. Thank you.